PlayStation experience was organized a little differently this year, with its game showcase taking place last night rather than today, and no real keynote speech. Announcements were a little light as well. Regular games are still getting new VR capability added, and hey, MediEvil is getting remastered. Instead of standing speeches and an intermittent trailers, the PSX 2017 opening ceremony consisted mostly of people sitting on a couch on stage giggling about games that already released, like Horizon Zero Dawn, or imminent releases like God of War, as people in the audience shouted random stuff in excitement. As one person in the Twitch chat put it, the night was more of a laid-back podcast than blockbuster affair. Sony executive Shawn Layden didn't have too many bombshell announcements, or any really. In fact, it was a pretty quiet night overall. We've collected some of the more notable highlights below. It's a sensible addition to the game, given that VR tends to work best when someone's occupying a fixed space like a cockpit. Although, as Layden joked, you'll have to supply your own sickness bags. The mod doesn't bring any new content outside of the VR capability and is due out in early 2018. There weren't any new trailers or confirmation of a release date, but creative director Cory Barlog did note the game will be around 35 to 40 hours long. Previous God of War games have been closer to 10 hours. But in 2017 and 2018, even games that aren't open world are still overwhelming, chock full of stuff to do. Quantic Dream's philosophical reflection on robots and humanity was demoed live on stage as a fun game to play with friends. Quote, "In case you were wondering if David Cage's new game would involve hyper-emotional, over-the-top moments, rest assured it will. There will also be plenty of walking around while game prompts flood the screen." Ben Esposito's game about being a hole in the ground that sucks up everything around it was originally prototyped back in 2012. I've been following it ever since, and I'm glad to see it's shaping up so well. The latest trailer also does the best job of explaining what the game is, so you should really just watch that. Currently it's scheduled to arrive on PS4 and smartphones and PC next year. There's this thing where Layden wears t-shirts to PSX repping his favorite old game series, and then fans salivate over the prospect of them getting revived. Since Ratchet and Clank and Crash Bandicoot were such a success, the ritual continued this year. I loved MediEvil. I have fond memories of playing it early in the morning before school, and while Sir Daniel Fortesque made terrible jokes. And even, I don't quite know how Sony chose it of all possible games to get a PS4 remaster with 4K capabilities. Layden's shirt did look pretty cool though. The Last Guardian is getting its own VR capability, with a demo available starting on December 12th. Where VR makes perfect sense for something like Wipeout, it's a little more foreboding in a game with cameras and movement that can be as wonky as Last Guardian's. So if you're going to need puke bags for the former, you might need a bucket for this one. He won't be playable though. Instead, the Blue Bomber will be one of your Palico buddies should you choose him. In addition to eating sausages with you, he'll also let you listen to chiptunes while you spend countless hours poaching enormous beasts for their hides and whatnot. It's the clearest evidence yet that Capcom intends on making 2018 the year of Mega Man. Kinda funny's Greg Miller asked Layden during a short interview at the end of the night when players would finally be able to change their PSN profile names, some of which are decades old and were created when people thought Blaze_it_420 was the epitome of funny. Let me put it this way. I hope we'll see events occur so that you don't have to ask me that question next, PSX. He said. Make of that what you will. And there you have it. Overall, it was a pretty chill if uneventful night. If you're interested in listening to some of the developers that were on stage talk about their